Welcome back, you guys, to another episode of Mindful Moments. I'm your host, Jada Lowe. And like I always ask y'all, what's poppin'? How y'all doing? We doing good? We are starting off the week mindful. We're starting off the week with ease, with a relaxed mind. And if you're stressed, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. So let's get to it, okay? So, y'all listen. Lately, my thoughts haven't been everywhere lately, but I've been trying to be more intentional about minding my mind, right? And when I say that, I just mean being cognizant of the way I'm thinking, what I'm thinking, and just not letting the thoughts that don't deserve to sit take space in my brain for too long. And if they do, like, acknowledge them, try to see, okay, where is this coming from? Did something trigger this? Did something happen to make me think this? Is this something I need to work on? Yada, 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 woo, woo, woo. So that's kind of what I want to dive into, a little bit of like my headspace this past week, but also like what we can do to better mind our mind. And even I feel like sometimes you can 100%, I feel like you can't 100% be always like on your P's and Q's mentally. Just hear me out. Yes, be aware of your thoughts. Yes, take note of them and like be on top of it. But just like I've talked in past episodes, y'all, life just happens. Things trigger us, and sometimes we have not so good days to show us how we can have better days if a similar situation were to occur, right? And that's just kind of what I want to touch on is minding your mind. I feel like these past few weeks, I feel like I've been doing like really good, like I was on it, like positive thinking, talking to myself better, expecting better, like praying better, and just like God was revealing like a lot of good things to me, and I was just in a good headspace. And recently, an opportunity came up for me, and I kid you not, like it's a great opportunity, and I plan on taking the opportunity. But then it's like in the middle of it, I was swarmed with overthinking, overanalyzing, and mainly because the way God gave it to me, it's causing a lot of things, again, to be outside of my control. And I was trying to, one of the ways that I try to make sense of things that I don't have control over in my life is by grasping on to the idea of what I could control by thinking down the line and by planning it out, even when it hasn't gotten here yet. And that puts me like in a bind, like that puts me in a tizzy, y'all, because no matter how much you think it, like when certain situations come up, even the blessings that we get that are out of our control, even the good opportunities that come our way, and there are certain aspects of them that are out of our control, right? We can only, sometimes you're only able to get control or to get a grasp of it until you step into that aspect, or until you just come face to face with that part or aspect of the opportunity or blessing, right? And so I'm really saying all of this because it's a reminder to me, but I also know that it can help anybody who's listening. But yeah, it was kind of a reminder too that like when you're praying for like transformation in your mind, and when you're praying for to just have a overall better state of mental health, being reminded that there are days where that's tested is very humbling. I'll say that. It's very humbling because I was like, yeah, you can do it. I believe in you. You're capable. You have the capacity to do this. Go, Jada. Woo. And then it's like the past thoughts that I thought I had got over, they came back and they were like, well, what can you do to like have full control? Or maybe you can't really, or maybe this won't work. But and the gag is the opportunity, I prayed for it. I prayed for it and kind of forgot about it because it wasn't happening. So it's like, okay. And now it's here, and it's like all the opposite thoughts of what I thought I would be thinking. Wasn't thinking none of them. Like there was no room for me to even be excited. Like, and it was just, the thoughts were on the other end of the spectrum versus like happiness, excitement, and joy. It was overthinking, sad, and anxiety. That's what it was. And it's like, what happened to everything that I worked on, like mentally in my brain? What happened to all of the be mindful, have a mindful moment? Like, what, girl, where is that? What happened to that? And the thing is, it's still there. It's just sometimes I believe in life we unknowingly, but also that happens in the sense of old thought patterns coming up to test us, and God testing us too, to see like, okay, even when I throw something good your way, and even if you're used to thinking like having imposter syndrome, even if you're used to thinking the bad about the good that I bless you with, and I've helped you in your mind, and you've been intentional in your thoughts and this, that, and the third. And then when I give you something good, are you still going to think that way? Or are you going to remind yourself of what you've been practicing for? Because let's keep it a buck. It's easy when everything is, it's easy to mentally be in a good space. It's easy to think those good thoughts and to handle all that in a positive light when there really isn't anything that tested. But what happens when, let's say, example, boom, let's say you've been working on your self-talk and you've been saying, like, I'm beautiful, like I'm a great person, my heart is great, just like, the self-worth stuff. And then you encounter somebody and they say something like, oh, you're not who I thought you were, or it's just they say something that's a personal attack that isn't true. And so now you're rethinking everything. Like, what happened to everything that you just told yourself? It's still there, and it's still true, but the idea of putting that from really your mind to your heart and the implementation of both, that takes just as much hard work. And that's when it's really tested. And that's how I felt these past couple of days. It was just like, I have to tell myself I say this phrase, calm down, girl, a lot, because like, girl, calm down. But I say that to myself to serve as a reminder to like see what is it that you've been working on, and don't discredit that. And don't let, when it taught me two things: how to handle the good, because sometimes you can pray for good things, and when they come, you deserve them, but you still speak to yourself in disbelief, like you never really should have gotten it. Even if in your gut, I'm meant for this, and then when it comes and you see it face to face and God blesses you with it, now you're like, It's like, it's so weird, and it's so weird to navigate through, because it's different from like bad things may be happening in your life and turmoil and adjusting through that mentally. But I just kind of wanted to touch base on when the good things happen and trying to readjust your mental to be mindful of how you're thinking when good things happen, because we can sabotage good things and talk to ourselves not in the best way when good things happen to us, when opportunities come to us, when blessings come to us, just as worse as in the bad seasons of our life, and end up messing up something good, and end up messing up and not having a learning opportunity in that. And I just had to breathe through it. And it taught me too that maneuvering through the space of implementing that when you receive opportunities and blessings requires patience too. What do you do when your new thought process is triggered by old patterns? Or what do you do when you're thinking all of these good things and you are on a roll, baby, on a roll, and an old thought pattern, and it may just even just be something random, like you be like, oh, I'm so beautiful, yada 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 yada, and you just driving and you riding, and then you just be like, oh, like where is that? What? Like, let's be for real. Let's be so for real. And it's just like it really requires patience, because triggers are there for a reason, and especially when for me personally, I'm used to like being anxious. I'm used to overthinking. I'm used to overanalyzing to the point where it's caused me to miss out on starting a lot of things in the past. It's cost me opportunities and just moving into greater. And even though I know I don't want to stay in that mindset, and even though I've even grown from that, which I'm grateful for, it's also, it becomes a part of you. And when you try to detach from that, it's like, it is a process, because you have to deal with the actual detachment from it. Then you have to deal with doing the proper work to actually reshape and unlearn and relearn all of that. And then you have to, let's not even talk about dealing with the residue of it, or seeing the residue because I was triggered by something. And now you're saying, okay, it's a little dash of insecurity, or it's a little dash of self-doubt, or it's a little dash of me not talking to myself like I should. That's still in me. But I believe that's meant to ultimately show us too, of course, what to work on, but how to just keep it pushing. And the biggest takeaway I want y'all to take from this is to be patient with yourself. And it's not just when it comes to how you speak to yourself and just overall thought process, but just in every aspect of your life. If you're trying to do something new, it's a learning curve, man. It is such a learning curve. And this was probably one of the couple of times where, I'm gonna be honest, it overwhelmed me. Like, I wasn't even able to, I was like, I should really be happy for this opportunity. But I can't even, like, my mood was so shot. I didn't even have the space to hold like any happiness or joy, because I'm trying to replay everything. I'm overthinking everything. And that even robbed me of being able to just process the true essence of everything. And it's just like, how do you handle it when those times do come? And I think it helps for one, to of course be prayerful, but also encourage yourself and remind yourself of what you've been doing the work for anyway. Like, I don't want to change my thought process for no reason. I'm changing my thought process in a more positive light, so that way when the good things come, I can talk myself through it. And when the bad things come, I can talk myself through it, to where I can be level and neutral in the overall sense of, like, no matter what happens, like I'm good. It's not for no reason. And I think when you remind yourself that, and even when you just encourage yourself and let yourself know, like, hey, I'm working on being better in this aspect, whether it's mentally and just being mindful or whatever. Like, I'm doing this so I can be a better person. I'm doing this so I can have a better outlook on life, or have a more positive outlook on life. And I mentioned this kind of at the beginning. While I do feel like you can't be, while I feel like to an extent you can't necessarily be mentally overly joyed all the time, is because life happens. But I do believe that there are ways to manage it, to keep getting back to that point. Of course, you're going to experience low moments and highs and lows. That's just the ebbs and flows of life, right? But there is a way to find a level of sustainment. And I believe that when you talk to yourself differently and when you're more mindful and this, that, and the third, that helps for where when life hits to have that level of just to find that equilibrium. And so encourage yourself. I had to remind myself, like, you haven't been talking to yourself this way, and you haven't been being positive and honestly just doing the work that's necessary on yourself to just be like, you've done too much work to get overwhelmed by what used to keep you stagnant mentally. You've done too much work. And then encourage yourself by reiterating all the stuff that you've been saying to yourself, all the positivity, right? And the last thing, just be patient, because another thing that will happen is tests come to see how much you've improved. Benchmarks come to see how far you've come. And so, yeah, be prayerful, encourage yourself. And I even encourage you that you can do it, and be patient with yourself. And just as you go through the week, just give yourself, I know I always say this, but just give yourself some grace, even in the midst of working through what a more mindful life and what a more intentional and positive mindset looks like for you. And even if you're in a season where it doesn't feel like it's looking up, where you were good and now things have come up that are making you question that, or even if you're questioning yourself because something good has happened and you're wondering like if you're capable of this, that, and the third, be prayerful, encourage yourself, and be patient, because you will get through it with, goodness, whether good or bad, you'll definitely get through it. And I just encourage you to, on the journey of mindfulness and just on the journey of growth and just being more positive, to mind your mind. Mind your mind. And I thank you guys, of course, for tuning into another week, another episode of Mindful Moments. And I'll catch you guys back here on the next episode. Look, we've been rolling. We've been on a ball. So yeah, we going. And yeah, like I always say, I'm proud of you guys. I love y'all. Stay prayerful, be encouraged, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Deuces.